Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, still suffering from the smoke pouring down from Canada. I managed to, breathe in steam and drink tea and cranberry juice and anything and gargle with Listerine and oh my goodness. And I called my good friend Christophe Huss up in Connecticut, up in Canada, in Montreal, at Le Devoir, and I suggested that he and everyone else in Canada go out and piss on a tree, do something to stop the burning. I mean, it's just a nightmare. My goodness, what's going on? I understand that everyone in the world who can get up there and who knows something about firefighting is going to help, and I hope they do because it's just a disaster. Anyway, with that joyous news for the morning, we're going to talk about Eric Coates Volume 2, Happy Music. Pure happiness, absolutely the essence of joy. I mean, amazingly delicious light music, and it's wonderful. Volume 1 was marvelous, featuring the BBC Philharmonic and John Wilson. Volume 2 is just as good, with all kinds of juicy little tidbits. Coates was just such a fun composer. You know, a lot of his music was used for television themes in the UK, as some of you pointed out in the notes, like By the Sleepy Lagoon and, the first number from the Three Elizabeths and whatnot. And rightly so. The guy knew how to write a tune. You can't define that. It's really kind of fascinating how, musicology fails at describing the most important thing about music, at least for most people, which is melody. Why some melodies are wonderful and some melodies are not. The only person I know who really sort of went into it, and he got roundly derided for it, was Derek Cook. Derek Cook was the guy who completed Mahler's 10th Symphony, but he wrote a whole book on musical expression in which he analyzed melodies and the harmonic implications of various melodies and related them to specific emotional states. And I remember reading comments about that, which is, oh, it's ridiculous, it's silly, it's crazy. Well, at least he tried. At least he tried to get to the essence of why some music affects us more than others and why some composers are better at it than others at writing tunes and what those tunes mean. And it was a very, very interesting study. I recommend it if you have a chance to take a look or find, I forget the exact title, but one of you will tell me, I know. And, when you get light music guys like Eric Coates, who are wonderful tunesmiths, and they didn't write symphonies and they didn't write string quartets, and they didn't write, serious music in large forms, although he did write some music in large forms. He really did. Words kind of fail and criticism kind of fails. So anyway, let's see what's on Volume 2, shall we? You get the London Bridge March. Oh, wonderful. And one of his wonderful fantasies for orchestra. He just called these pieces Fantasy for Orchestra, The Selfish Giant. But these are big works. I mean, they're big works in large forms, and they make their own form. He called it fantasy. And if he called it overture or tone poem or something, I don't know, maybe people would take it more seriously. He's a delightfully self-effacing person when it came to naming his works and not making excessive claims for what they were. But what they are, is just good music, right? So we have the Selfish Giants, then we have Wood Nymphs, a valsette, a little waltz, Wood Nymphs. I did a whole video on how nymphs are bad for you. You can check it out. You could just do a search in my homepage under nymph, and it'll pop up. Then we have the Enchanted Garden, a ballet. This is 19 minutes of music and delicious, magical music. And then For Your Delight, Serenade, which is very short, the Summer Days Suite, the Lazy Night Valse Romance, which is actually shorter than the Wood Nymph Valsette, which, goes to show I don't know what. And then another march to wrap things up, Calling All Workers, a deliciously socialist effusion. Really, really charming music. And once again, the playing with the BBC Philharmonic under John Wilson is absolutely excellent. Wilson is very good at this stuff. And I'm not saying that because, his bigger other things on Chandos have been not so successful. He seems to have a real affection and feeling for this music, and he does it very well. And that's honest praise. So try Eric Coates Volume 2. If you haven't listened to Volume 1, you owe it to yourself. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.